me just enough time to get some wood situated. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Did you have a good nap? We're in the woods, aren't we? You're probably gonna need your hat on. It's cold out here. Can you say hi? All right, well, let's get a fire going.
There you go. All right. Yeah, look at this one too. Ooh, there you go. You want to get ripped up too? Are you cold? Might be a little cold. You won't like chopping wood like Dad.
That's true.
There you go. Now you're warm. Now you'll be warm. Stay on the blanket though. What your mom's doing? She's making a fire. Cool, look at that. Those were old flowers that have kind of... Yeah, that had that blood blister. Yeah. Don't be gentle. Does it? Here we go.
There we go. Okay.
Ooh.
I haven't made a fire in a while. I'm like rusty.
Exciting. That's going to make it warm. Please.
Okay, we got fire. We got fire and the boys. Alrighty. Hey Internet, Captain Erica, Cameron, and little Teddy here. Just out in the woods right before it gets dark. As you saw by the title of this video, we are jumping into the Show Me Your Steak challenge. I don't identify as a man. This is a men's mental health day or like challenge. So, but I married a man, and mental health issues are really near and dear to our hearts. We both kind of have our own struggles with that type of thing. So, yeah, we just wanted to give a big shout out to Haze Outdoors for starting this challenge. I think it's really important to talk about men's mental health because there is this kind of thing, this stigma, if you want to call it, where dudes just don't talk about their feelings in this, as much. So a lot of people have been talking about PTSD and things like that. For us, like kind of what we deal with a lot is depression, chronic depression, and chronic physical illness and anxiety and things like that. So I don't really know if you want to say much, but I know that it's something that we deal with on a daily basis, and I think it's important to talk about. So, do you have anything you want to say, or? Oh, yeah, that's so cool. Teddy's like, this is so shiny. Yeah, it's so shiny.
Yeah, it's like a one to play with there. Mm-hmm. This was kind of your idea, and you had like thoughts on your mind that you wanted to talk about. So
I do.
So I figured I'd just kind of let you say what you want, and
Okay.
I'll see if I have anything I want to chime in on as you go. But yeah.
Just let me know if you want to go play with Dad again, okay? Yeah, that's fire. It's pretty. Okay, so I think that a lot of folks that are doing this challenge are doing an awesome job of kind of like pointing out that hey, like it's okay to like talk to about your feelings, and seeing a professional is a good thing, and some things like that. And so there's some links to some really good resources and stuff out there, and I'm going to post a bunch below. A lot of stuff is from Europe, so I'm going to try to find some here in the States stuff, yeah, and things like that. So definitely check out the description. But I think what I want to talk about a little bit, if you guys don't mind, is supporting someone who's suffering from chronic health, mental health stuff like depression and anxiety, I think that, ooh, careful, don't throw that in the fire. You get warm? Why don't you go over here? So, I think it's really hard. It's really hard to support someone sometimes who's suffering because maybe they don't want to talk about it, maybe they don't want to admit it, maybe they're not ready for help yet, maybe they deal with the issue of they're nervous to talk about it because it's like dudes can't talk about their feelings or whatever. So if you're friends or with someone, or you're a spouse of someone, best friends, whatever, who's struggling, there's a lot of different things that you can do. I'm getting my notes here because my brain is always focusing on Teddy, and so sometimes I forget what I'm saying. So there's a lot of things you can do to support people that are struggling. This is something that I have to do for Cameron, and Cameron has to do for me on a daily basis. So one of the things that when you go to therapy, they tell you to do is take care of yourself and do that self-care. So it's really hard to take care of yourself when you feel terrible. So a lot of times that person that's struggling just needs help doing stuff, like really basic stuff. Like I've heard it called the impossible task. Like maybe they're really functioning well, they're going to work, they come home, the house is relatively clean or whatever, but it's just hard for them to pick up the phone and call a therapist, or it's hard for them to wash their dishes. Like that was a big problem for me in my early 20s. And it just seems like this insurmountable task because it's really hard to understand if you don't have depression, but like it's amazing how impossible things feel, and it affects you physically, so you're just really tired, and when you're anxious, like there's a plethora of things going through your mind that aren't like normal or healthy. So anyway, sometimes just helping them with really basic tasks, driving to the appointment might be like the big hurdle. So it's hard. You will know that, like, if you have a friend, you'll kind of know what their communication lines are and stuff, and how you can kind of reach out or do your best. Sometimes it's hard as a depressed or anxious person to respond to things like on the spot. So like talking on the phone might be really nerve-wracking, but texting is like super easy, or Facebook messaging or email, or writing a thinking of you card. Like snail mail does exist still. So supporting them with like really basic tasks, even if that task is just like seems so easy to you, it might not be easy to them. And as far as other support things, I think if you have to make sure that you're always protecting yourself too, so you have to take care of yourself. But if you have the energy, I think it's really important to put in the effort to check in with them, even if they don't respond repeatedly. So maybe your friend hasn't messaged you, or you haven't hung out on a regular basis in a while. Just send them a text. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, I was thinking of you. Hey, did you see the basketball game or whatever? I'm not very good with sports stuff, but like, did you see the game? Or and like they might not respond to you, and it might hurt you, and that's where you kind of have to find that balance. But just keep reaching out, keep inviting them to events. You want to go to the woods, you want to go on a hike, you want to do something, whatever it is rejuvenating to them. Just kind of like always show up, even if they can't, because it does mean a lot. So there's that. So just some ideas about self-care stuff. So stuff that you can help them with. I just wrote down real quick the other day, like help them get a break. If maybe they just need a break from whatever's causing the anxiety, from like work routine. Maybe they need to go do something kind of random that they haven't done before. Maybe they need to go shopping, something like that. So just giving a break. Sometimes they just need a shower. they just like, so like if it's your spouse, for me, for Cameron, I'm just like, you gonna take a shower today? Like just kind of, like you have to be really respectful of course, but like just kind of checking in and be like, I noticed that you've kind of been neglecting this part of, self-care. Like we really got to make sure that we take care of you, and then, I love you and all that stuff. Food is a big one, especially for him, because is Teddy just like over it? He wants hugs. Oh, he wants to be upside down. He really likes to be upside down. So like for us, Cameron's allergic to like everything, so making food can be like a really big hurdle for him and even for me. So sometimes just like me making dinner can help him have energy to take a shower or something. So maybe just taking your friend out to eat or bringing over a snack or whatever might really help them feel a little better. And so maybe they just need a distraction, maybe just mentioning something kind of fun or interesting, like a sports game, or hopefully not depressing news, but like something that happened in the news or whatever. What do you want? Do you want to play with this? Look, this has cool patches on the back. Yeah. Teddy's like, why are you still talking to the camera and not me? So obviously this stuff is like really important to us, and I really just hope that if you've got someone struggling in your life and you are able to kind of reach out, that you can. And of course, sometimes it's just the really simple stuff that helps so much. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. So obviously, before I forget, lending an ear, just listening is also really important. So if they want to talk, definitely listen, because it's hard to get to the point where you can talk, let alone share deep, dark stuff. So yeah, let me poke the fire a little bit. Let's get some steaks going on. See if I can think of anything else to say.
There you go.
Are you hungry? He's like, yeah, I'm hungry. Okay. Well, I'll go get some food.
I had a little bit that I wanted to say, I guess, maybe.
Okay, I'm going to go get some food for the boy while you talk. Here, Teddy. Here, Teddy. Okay. Blueberries.
I don't know, when Erica talks about, like, maybe just, like, tell the person, like, I'm not sure exactly the way she said it, but about, are you going to take a shower today or something, or, like, it might seem kind of silly, or, I don't know, taking it, that might seem so trivial and kind of pathetic, but I don't know if you haven't experienced a lot of depression yourself or seen it in another person. It might not make a lot of sense, but it's actually really common for people that have depression to be in such a state of kind of ennui, or just low energy and low motivation, and just where even really small things are incredibly overwhelming, and just getting out of bed at all can be almost impossible, or something like taking a shower, or brushing your teeth, or eating a meal. Just really the basics of, living life as a human being just are almost overwhelming, and can be impossible if the depression is bad. So I've struggled a lot in my life with depression as an adult. It's been kind of a recurrent kind of burden that I bear, I guess. And and a lot of times it doesn't make sense. But if you've seen someone like that, or you've experienced that yourself, then you know that even though it doesn't make sense, that's like a real kind of suffering and a real struggle that people go through that isn't their fault, and they can't help it if they're suffering from depression. And just maybe taking a shower is an accomplishment for the day if someone is in a bad depression, because just that by itself was something that was really overwhelming and difficult for them to be able to do. So I've certainly been in places like that in my life, and it's really difficult in a lot of different ways. But Erica was talking about trying to support someone who's going through that, and it's really hard because they can barely help themselves, and they don't necessarily want help or know how to receive help when they're struggling in such a profound way. And there's not necessarily any easy answers, but one thing that that did occur to me as Erica was talking about it was, if you haven't experienced that kind of thing, or seen it in someone else, up close and personal, someone that you live intimately with, like a family member or a close friend, then it might seem kind of silly or hard to wrap your head around. But that's actually, someone that's having a bad depression and, just finding it so overwhelming and difficult even to, take a shower. That kind of thing is pretty common when people are struggling with major depression. So it's really not silly, and if that's something that you yourself are, finding yourself in that kind of struggle, it's just, you're not alone. It's like it's an illness, and it's something that lots of people have had to struggle with, and it's not silly or pathetic. It's just you're sick and it's difficult, and so taking advantage of the resources that you have available, getting the help that you can, allowing yourself to admit that you're struggling and to lean on your loved ones and the support networks in your community can really make a huge difference. But if you just feel like you're alone and pathetic, and it doesn't make sense, and then that can be all the more paralyzing, and so if you come to a place where you realize I'm doing the best I can, and this is just really hard, and I'm sick, and I need to cut myself a little bit of slack, and understand that this is the best I can do, and then start treating it as a problem where you appreciate what a big problem it is. Then you can start making a more realistic plan to help yourself, and you can start to lean on the resources that maybe your loved ones and the resources in your community that are available to help you, instead of just being paralyzed. If you can get into a cycle where you just feel bad about feeling bad, and it just feeds on itself. So yeah, but that kind of thing is really that just the littlest things can be so overwhelming for a person who's feeling really depressed, and so it can be frustrating for people who are trying to be helpful and support them. But I think a lot of patience is really good when you're dealing with someone that's going through that kind of struggle, and that's something I've been fortunate with, because Erica has a lot of patience for me when I'm having a hard time, and when I have had hard times. So yeah.
You don't deserve to suffer. Love you. Alright.
What do we got here with this venison?
So, we got venison. I'll show you. We're going to cook it up. We got, they're little, they're little steaks, so we're going to have several little steaks here. I know, you want more blueberries, don't you? Can you make sure he doesn't choke himself on blueberries while I cook?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Yep, I'm gonna have to get this fire stoked a lot more. This thing had more steak in it than I realized.
Your hands are getting cold, aren't they? You okay? Don't choke, okay?
Got my spoon to scoop my stuff out. So I've got freshly ground pepper, garlic, salt, and some olive oil. So I read on the internet that you gotta put butter on steak. Well, sorry, but we're a dairy-free family, unfortunately, due to allergies. So I think what I'll do is I'll drizzle a little bit on there. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna drizzle a little bit on with my spoon. It's got some oils on it because venison is not very fatty. And then I'll put the seasonings on top of it.
Here comes the fire. Here comes the fire.
So put on some garlic salt. The garlic salt smells so good. Like, if you don't know how to cook, just put garlic salt on like everything and you'll be good. Don't you think?
I'd say if you don't know how to cook, that's a decent strategy.
So let's check on this.
Oh, that was pretty
All right, so I got Teddy between my arms here.
It's good.
So you got those slightly more well done stuff. Cameron likes his stuff more well done. He's not a big fan of parasites.
Still a little pink inside. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I want to tag 3 people, just like Haze did. Sorry, I'm like watching this baby trying to eat my food. So the first person I'm going to tag is Bushcraft Dave. He's super rad, kind of like an internet friend. I'd really like to see Bushcraft Dave. Show me your steak. I'm going to tag John from Live for Wild. John, I know you've been busy with grandbabies and health stuff and things like that, but I hope maybe you could get out and show us your steak as well. Last but not least, I want to tag Dutch Bushcraft Knives. That's you guys, Martin and Mickey. I'd really love to see you guys talk about this. I know that you guys are mostly focused on comedy and such, but anyway, it's a great topic, so I'd love if you guys made a video. So anyway, you guys go poke those Bushcraft Dave, John from Live for Wild, and Martin and Mickey from Dutch Bushcraft Knives. Love to see them talk about it. And yeah, we're just gonna finish eating our food and let this fire die down and head on home. Next time we'll try to leave a little earlier so it stays light. But yeah, thank you so much.